Good evening from Yami B TV. Wishing you all well, of course, right? Now, before I go away again for the weekend, I have to come up and do this topic, right? It's been bugging me for about 3 weeks since the incident at HMP Category A prison, namely Franklin, where the three officers got scolded with hot boiling fat, allegedly by the Manchester Arena bomber's brother, right? So we know there was a big scream up about all that. Now look, and then in recent times, again, the last since I come back from vacation, I'm seeing that the Southport killer's been at it again in there with hot water or whatever he used. Also, we report on the Woodhill slashing. But it really does hit home today when I'm seeing other people's posts, because after the incident in HMP Franklin, right, I got a message on TikTok. It is somebody that followed me for quite some time, right? But I don't know what his real name is. But he sent a message and he said to me, he said, listen, Uncle Yami, you're reporting on one side of the coin, but if you're talking about staff being attacked, why not talk about alleged inmates being attacked as well? Which I take my hat off to Sam Samworth today, ex-prison officer. You know who he is, real porridge and all that, right? Who balance things out fairly, right? So he sits in the middle and he's not biased to one side or another, right? But we knew that already. In the message, after the Franklin incident, this guy goes on to tell me that there were three brothers, because at that time in HMP Franklin, a lot of Muslim Brotherhood were being moved, right? It is believed that they went to a unit in Belmarsh or Woodhill. No, it was Woodhill, weren't it? Most of them went, because it wasn't just the alleged perpetrator. They had a little bit of a clear out. Now, one of the names I recognised, right, and I can't give these names, okay, because I was a bit dubious when I first got the message on TikTok, giving me the names of the brothers that were being horrifically brutalised by prison staff after the HMP Franklin thing, right? But I knew one of the brothers from that were familiar to me way back in the day during my prison stay, right? But what he said in there, right, was that when they were getting moved from their cell area all the way to reception, all onto the sweatbox or their transit van where they were being moved, they were beaten black and blue and absolutely obliterated, right? I wasn't there, but he did say that. And I said, nah, I can't really report on it because I've got no evidence. It's not coming up in the news. It's not something that's been highlighted, which is significant in a way if we look back on history, when these kind of incidents happen in our prison environments, right? But I completely get, and I break it down to you now exactly how it would really go, having lived in them institutions all my life. Now look, battered from pillar to post, right? Completely obliterated. Just being walking into their cells and beaten black and blue. When they're being carried away, beat them too. Okay, there is suggestions that there is evidence against certain staff at the moment because of certain camera bits where they might have made mistakes, but that's just the speculating, right? But look at this now. Whether it was the Muslim Brotherhood or not, right? On this occasion, it sounds like it was. Now, in history, the riots at Strangeways, the riots at Parkhurst, didn't involve no Muslim Brotherhood, but the staff have their own sentencing policy. And it has always been that way since the crack of dawn and the creation of time. In Parkhurst, after that riot, the beatings that certain inmates got were very much like what I'm hearing now after Franklin. Right, Strangeways was the same. They will just come in and give out their own prison justice thing. It's all, look, it has always been your lot, us, and them. And this is what I'm seeing now since the Franklin incident, right? It's not just because it's a brotherhood thing. It's attacks on staff. When you do that, there will be, especially when it's really, really serious violence on staff. They will give out their own bit back in return. Nothing different about all this, right? Now look, right. So the Southport killer comes out, throws the hot water the other day. It would be interesting, not that I'm suggesting any violence or anything, that if you meet the same violence that you do with inmates that do atrocities against prison staff, whether he's so high profile and high risk that you're a little bit frightened to weigh him in. Nah, I'm not promoting any violence or anything. But let's be real about all this. In reality, in certain other terms, with a different clientele of prisoner, you would do, and you have done, and you will do, and you have done, and you always will do. That's part of prison life, I'm afraid. I don't have anything really to say about that, but I've noticed the influx since the Franklin incident, that there's been more attacks on staff. The Southport killer, I suggest that where he is right now and others have been transferred to, that might be involved in certain things, will say, you know what I mean? A window's easy to talk through. You ain't never going to stop a man from having a cup of tea. It don't matter whether it was hot water or a cup of tea, and still gets a chance to throw it at you. That's just the way it is. You have to open his door. You have to go in on him. He's going to get one chance no matter what during whatever day that comes across, right? So that, us and them, that will still be, all right, that happened there. They're beating up brothers there. They're doing this to this inmate here. Come on, we've all got to stick together, and you've got to do your bit for Queen and Country, especially if you ain't got nothing to lose, all right? So I'm throwing it out there. I will do, and I feel a little bit of a way that I didn't answer that geezer about 3 weeks ago, because I believe now with the evidence that I'm getting today that it definitely took place, but, you know, I wasn't there. But it does suggest that, and I take my hat off to anybody that is balancing things out fairly. So it's nothing new in our prison systems. It don't matter about what creed, colour or religion or anything. It has always been that way. It's not just like when you punch a prison officer in the mouth and you get a little hiding afterwards and that. When you're talking about serious attacks like this, slashed, hot watered, hot oiled, there will be retribution, mate. It just gets covered up a little bit more because it's like playing away from home, in a football match. You're not in your own domain, and things can get covered by the powers that be, and it's been going on for a lifetime. But I want to see you lot. I want to see you lot. I'm not promoting nothing, but I want to see how you handle each individual case, the same as you handle all others, yeah? And that's all I've got to say on this matter.